Yes, two solutions in both the components are volatile. Now, suppose one binary solution is there in which first solution is taken as 1 and second is taken as solution. Now first solution you can term as first solution 1 and so solute you have taken as 1 and solvent as 2. There is one law called Raoult's law. Raoult's law states that the pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the component, or we can write down there as P is equal to P0 into X. For component 1, we can write down P1 is equal to X1 into P01. For component B, that is 2, P2 will be equal to X2 into P02. From Dalton's law of partial pressure, if two gases or two liquids, they are immiscible or non-reactive, then the total pressure is equal to the sum of the individual pressure. So, PT will be equal to X1 P01 plus X2 P02. We also know that X1 plus X2 is equal to 1. So, we can write down here X1 is equal to 1 minus X2 in this equation. So, it will be 1 minus X2 P01 plus X2 P02. This equation, if you multiply this by, so it will be P01 minus X2 P01 plus X2 P02. So, when we will take the common X2, this can be written as P01 plus P02 minus P01 into X2. So, by this we can find out the total pressure of the components, which are both the components are volatile. So, this equation we can use in solving numericals. Now, from this equation we can conclude the following results. Number 1, that is the total vapor pressure over the solution can be related to the mole fraction of any one of the component. Matlab PT can be related to the mole fraction of any one of the component. Number 2, total vapor pressure over the solution, it varies linearly with the mole fraction of the component B, that I will show you after drawing the graph. And third is कि depending upon the vapor pressure of the pure component 1 and 2, the total vapor pressure over the solution decreases or increases with increase in number of moles of component 1. So I will draw the graph, you can see there. If we draw a graph between vapor pressure and mole fraction, this is vapor pressure, and this graph is very important. Sometimes in the board it is asked, explain your answer with the help of graph of the two volatile liquids, then you have to draw this graph. Now here if it is x1, x2, now here if it is x1 is 1, x2 is 0, and now here x1 is equal to 0 and x2 is equal to 1. Now x1 0, so when we plot a graph, we get a graph linear, means from 0 to 1 it is increasing. So this is the pressure P1, it will be here, that is partial pressure P01. Now how to draw this graph is going from this point to this point. In the second case we are drawing the both the component in the same graph. In the second case here x2 is 0 and at this coordinate x2 is 1. So when we will draw the graph, now here it is P02. In this graph you can see that P01 has the minimum value and P02 has maximum value. P01 has minimum value and P02 has maximum value, and when we draw a line, then this linear line gives the result of P total, P1 plus P2. Now when we want to find out the vapor pressure or the total pressure in vapor phase, then the graph, from the graph only we can calculate this. P1 is equal to Y1 into P total. If we want to find out the pressure in vapor phase, this Y1 is the pressure in vapor phase, P1 is the pressure in normal case, and P total will be P1 plus P2. So in general you can say that P2 will be equal to Y2 into P total. I will explain this formula by doing the numerical. There is one example in your book, that is 2.5. Example 2.5. Now here vapor pressure of chloroform. Chloroform vapor pressure is given to you is 200 mmHg and CH2Cl2, that is methylene chloride, the vapor pressure is given to you is 415 mmHg. Now we have to find out the vapor pressure of the solution. We have to find out PT. For P CaCl3 plus PCH2Cl2, and given is weight of chloroform is given to you 25.5 grams and 40 grams is given to you 40 grams methylene chloride. These all are given in your question. So here we have to find out first phase, that is vapor pressure of the solution. Now one formula I told you, that is Pt is equal to P1 plus P2. So first we will find out P1 here. Now P1 is equal to x1 into P01. So for here we have to find out x1. Now x1 will be equal to NCHCl3 divided by NCHCl3 plus NCH2Cl2. So N, all of you know that it is weight upon molecular weight, weight upon molecular weight. So this is for chloroform. By, so we can take this as x1 is a W1, M1, then W1 by M1 plus W2 by M2. So here W2 is methylene chloride. Now molecular mass of chloroform is 119. This I assume that everybody knows how to calculate. Then CH2Cl2 is 85 grams per mole. So find out, substitute the value. 119.3, 25.5 divided by 25.5 by 119.5 plus weight is 40 divided by 85. So when you will calculate, you will get, that is moles will be, moles of chloroform is 0.213. So by knowing this, we can find out the moles of this. Second will be, similarly we can find out moles of CH2Cl2, that is equal to 0.47. So now we got here moles, we have got, so this moles we can substitute here, so it will be easier for you, but we have to calculate. So now mole fraction for this you will get, this is a mole fraction will be 0.312 for chloroform. This is for chloroform, and for CH2Cl2 it will be 1 minus 0.312, so that will be 0.688. So this is x2 and this one is x1. Now P total will be equal to x1 into P01 plus x2 into P02. So when you will find out x1, you have just now you have got 0.312, and for chloroform it is given 200 plus second case x2 we have got, that is 0.688 into, it is 415. So when we will calculate, we will get 62.4 grams for chloroform plus, this is the unit is mmHg, and for this we will get, for methylene it will be 285.5. so when you will do the total you will get PT. So PT will be 347.9 mm. It already done in your book, but I am just trying to explain how to do it. Now second part is find out the mole fraction in vapor phase. Second part that you have to find out mole fraction of each component in vapor phase. So we have got one formula, Y1 into P total. So for individual we can find out Y1 will be equal to P1 by Pt. So P1 we have got 62.4 and total 347.9. Similarly Y2, this is for chloroform and this is for methylene. So Y2 will be 285.5 divided by 347.9. So these type of questions are asked in board. Now next topic is Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. Raoult's law is a Now Raoult's law states that the partial pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction. So we can write down here P is equal to X into P0. This is according to Raoult's law. According to Henry's law, pressure is again directly proportional to, that is mole fraction, or we can write down it as KHX. So here you can see that P is directly proportional to X here also, and P is directly proportional to X here also. Only the difference is that is in the constants. Difference is in the constant. In the Raoult's law it is pressure in the pure state, and here it is Henry's constant. So we can consider that is Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. Next is vapor pressure of solutions of solid in liquids, that is vapor pressure of solutions in which solute is non-volatile. Earlier we have studied for volatile solute. Now here the vapor pressure of solution in which solute is non-volatile. Volatile. This is spelling is wrong. Volatile. Now volatile, all of you know what is the meaning of volatile. In class 11th we have studied that is what is vapor pressure. Whenever we heat any liquid in a closed container, then it starts going into vapor state, and when they reaches this top level it condenses back. So these vapors again try to convert into liquid, means vapors goes up and this again after condensing it comes back to in the liquid stage. So a stage comes when the rate of evaporation becomes equal to rate of condensation. So vapor pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the vapors on the surface of liquid at equilibrium. Vapor pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the vapors on the surface of liquid at equilibrium. So here the solvent is volatile and the solute is non-volatile. So whenever we will add any non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure decreases. Vapor pressure decreases when we add a non-volatile liquid, non-volatile solute. So it will be solid, not liquid. So why? Because the solute particles will go and get dispersed in it. So as a result, the escaping tendency of the solvent will decrease, because as the solute gets dissolved, the escaping tendency from the surface gets reduced. Therefore, vapor pressure decreases. Again, this question is very important. What happens when we dissolve any non-volatile solute in a solvent? Now, the decrease in the vapor pressure depends on the quantity of non-volatile solute. The decrease in the vapor pressure, decrease in vapor pressure depends on quantity of solute present in the solution. Present in the solution and not on the nature. It means that if we dissolve that is sugar or urea of same amount, then they will exert the same vapor pressure. So again, Raoult's law is there, that is vapor pressure of any solution is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute or of the component. Now next is ideal and non-ideal solution. Ideal and non-ideal solution. Now ideal solutions are those solutions which depends upon Raoult's law. They follow actually all the laws, but here we consider that is Raoult's law. Ideal solution depends, or you can say follow Raoult's law over the entire range of concentration. Over the entire range of concentration. Now suppose two solutions are mixed, two components are mixed together. So here delta H mixing is not changed. Means if suppose the enthalpy of H1 is 1 or H2 is 2, if you add it, then there will be no difference in the enthalpy. Total will be same, sum of the two enthalpies, that is H1 plus H2. So no change, delta H mixing will be equal to 0, and second is delta V mixing is also equal to 0. Suppose if we have added 100 ml of first solution, then 100 ml of second solution, the total will be equal to 200 if it is an ideal solution. So what is ideal solution? Ideal solutions are those solutions which follows Raoult's law over the entire range of concentration, and when we mix the two solutions, the total, there will be no change, the sum will be equal. If it is 100, 100, 200, same, you can take an example. Now why it is so? Suppose the first component is A2 and second component is B2. So there will be a intermolecular force of attraction between them, and the intermolecular force of attraction in B2 will be BB. This is representing the force of attraction. And when these two solutions are mixed together, they will form AB. So the strength of the forces, that is intermolecular force of attraction, forces are same, that is equivalent to AA, BB, that is equivalent to AB. So there is no change. So those solutions are called ideal solutions, but perfectly ideal solution is rare. But there are some examples, so they will follow in under the category. Examples: normal hexane plus normal heptane. Second example is benzene and toluene. So these are the two examples of ideal solution. No solution is an ideal solution, बहुत कम पाए जाते हैं. Next is non-ideal solutions. Non-ideal solutions. So this is same, which do not obey Raoult's law, which do not obey Raoult's law. Now these are of two types. Not an ideal solution showing positive deviation. So first we will study positive. Second is negative deviation, that I will discuss afterwards. So when here the delta H mixing and delta V mixing is not equal to 0. Either it will may be higher or lower. For non-ideal solution, this condition is there, that is delta H mixing is not equal to 0, delta V mixing is not equal to 0. Now we will take one example for positive deviation. first component is A2, second component is B2. When both of them are mixed together, it forms AB. So the strength of AB is less, that is weaker than AA and BB. So when the two components are mixed together, they form AB. The force of attraction between AB, that is the strength, is weaker than AA and BB. So this solution will try to go in vapor phase easily. And since this solution can go in vapor phase easily, therefore it will have higher vapor pressure, and there is an inverse relation between vapor pressure and boiling point. Higher the vapor pressure, lower is the boiling point. Now we can take the example, that is ethanol and acetone. Ethanol and acetone. Now these molecules have the tendency to form hydrogen bonding. Ethanol can form hydrogen bonding, and when these two are mixed together, the hydrogen bonding of the ethanol is broken down, and means the acetone gets intermingled into it. As a result, when both of them forms bond, then this bond is weaker than the hydrogen bond. So again the vapor pressure will be higher, so boiling point will be lower. Second example, this is the first example. Second example is, that is carbon disulfide and acetone. Carbon disulfide and acetone. These are the two examples of the positive deviation. Now second we will study, that is negative deviation. Non-ideal solutions. Non-ideal solutions showing negative deviation. So just vice versa, as you studied in positive deviation, the intermolecular force of attraction of AA and BB. So the component, the solution formed will be AB. Now the force of attraction here, it is stronger, and it will be difficult to break, so it will not go easily into the vapor phase. Therefore vapor pressure will be less, and vapor pressure less, so boiling point high. The examples are mixture of chloroform and acetone. Chloroform and acetone. If you, once again I will repeat, the force of attraction between the first component we have assumed as A2, so AA and BB. So when the new component, the solution formed AB, this bond will be stronger, so we require more energy, so vapor pressure will be less and boiling point will be high. Now from here we get one definition, that is azotropes. Now what happens, when two liquids are mixed together, they form azotrope, in which the composition of in liquid as well as vapor phase remains same. Second, in this definition you should know azotrope. Azotropes, two liquids mixed together has same composition in liquid and vapor phase. Such solutions are called azotropes. Now we have studied positive deviation, their boiling point is low, so they are called as minimum boiling azotropes, and that is negative deviation where boiling point is high, so they are called as maximum boiling azotropes. So here I end the today's session. Now those who want to ask anything, you can drop in the chat box.